nowadays that are big into live service. I feel like that's the push. I feel like a lot of games now are really starting to push for all this live service stuff. You know, like Apex, Once Human, Marvel Rivals coming out. Obviously the MMOs or whatever, but like everything, a lot more games I'll say is live service nowadays. And I feel like live service games are going to ruin the industry. What do you guys think?
I, like many of us, have a love-hate relationship with live service games. Some of my favorite games have been live service, but their success has led to a steep decline in the creativity of AAA devs, and is likely why we're seeing them struggle to make or sell anything good. The reality is that most games releasing now have the same standard marketing and buzzwords, roadmaps, seasons, pre-order bonuses to really get your FOMO going.
This is the worst, chat. This is the absolute worst. Okay? And of course, he uses Star Wars Outlaws as an example. Now, can I argue the fact that the Ultimate Edition is $130? No, I can't. But Star Wars Outlaws isn't the only game to do this, and every game is starting to do this now. Pre-orders, and you get more with a bigger bundle. Look at the difference here. Now, I'm excited for Star Wars Outlaws. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited for it, but I also do agree that this marketing tactic is absolute garbage, and it pisses me off, and it ruins the immersive experience of video games. Because look right here. Base game, pre-order bonus, fine. Play the game early, who cares? Well, some people want to do that. Content creators mainly, right? Season pass automatically included. That's another tangent that I don't want to get on right now. Why does every single game need to have a battle pass, a season pass, something like that? Oh, right. Money. Video game developers are so greedy these days that everything has to be a battle pass. Everything has to be a season pass. Like, you can't just, like Elden Ring didn't have that. And look at it. Amazing. Baldur's Gate 3 didn't have that. Amazing. What is wrong with actually just making an amazing game? Why do you have to have a season pass, a battle pass, etc.? But here, now you get Rogue Inventory bundle, the Sabak Shark bundle, digital art book. Now, what I don't see in here is a Jabba the Hutt mission that was supposed to be specifically for the Ultimate Edition. I don't know if they took that out or what. But anyway, that's my little rant so far.
Do you want to play 3 days early with all your friends who spent an extra $50? Or do you want to be the level 1 scrub come the weekend?
Right.
And I want to say
it
I
is
don't
FOMO,
hate live service
100%.
games as a concept.
They are prying
really well,
on the
love them
FOMO
or
of
hate them.
gamers.
But you know what I'm talking about when I say so many games that don't need it have started dipping into the live service playbook. Star Wars Outlaws got announced, and I'm not even slightly tickled. It isn't live service, but it is taking notes from them. I should be frothing over this game. The Diablo 4 expansion, but its general monetization turns me off.
Live service.
Black Ops 6.
Yep.
Jesus fuck, we're at 6?
I
Games
hate
used to
the
be
exploit
more
of
focused
FOMO.
on
It's
taking the
real.
best aspects of one another.
That is what they do.
But what we've seen more and more of is this slow crawl into all AAA games, especially live service games, looking the same. The AAA industry used to lead the charge on innovation. You would see COD clones coming from indie devs trying their hand at
COD? COD clones? Oh, you mean like COD 74 that they're on right now? Because they have to pump one out every year and a half? Because it's a money grab and it hardly ever changes from game to game? No way. You can't be talking like that, right?
A popular game. Now it's almost the opposite. A dev, big or small, has success with an idea, and the others instantly pivot to try get a slice. Well, did you want 5 more battle royales? Remember how Battlefield and Fallout 76 forced in awful VR modes to try and make a buck? God, they were forgettable. These big companies used to actually try to do something different.
76 being garbage.
Not anymore.
Imagine that.
So let's break down why games as a service has led us here, and why they are so soulless. The first reason most of what we get is recycled is due to the focus on profit. And I can hear you saying,
every time.
No shit, under your breath.
Every
But
time.
what I'm trying to highlight is that companies aren't looking at each other anymore to get a sense of why that idea succeeded, or why player retention was so strong for one title over another. Part of the problem is the decision makers, usually the publishers or executives who have no clue what makes a good game. Instead, they see a game profiting and look closely at their service model. It's their live service framework that gets poached, not the gameplay ideas that are actually successful.
Interesting. Huh. Overwatch. Yeah, Overwatch had a lot of bumps, right? A lot of bumps. Don't quote me on this, but ever since COD began, there's only 1 year we didn't have a COD. That seems about right. 100%. Was it because of COVID? COVID 100% played a role in a lot more of these live services because more people are staying home, more people are gaming, more people wanted to get more gaming products, right? So like, oh, okay, they're staying home anyway, they're going to game anyway. So let's try to squeeze down their throat as many microtransactions, as many season passes, battle passes, as many expansions, whatever it may be, down their throats because, well, they're home. They'll have time to play it. So COVID, I 100% did. COVID actually played a big role in that. I mean, because of COVID, they didn't have a COD out. Oh, well, that might have been too. But Overwatch here, it's a free to play, but look at all of the seasonal models and content things that they get at the buy for. Jeez.
That's why every game now has a 3-day early access period, why every game has a battle pass, a shop, a roadmap, a tiered system of currencies designed in a way that you're always just slightly short of what you need, and to top it off is just a simple $2. And that's because getting you to spend just
Diablo
that little
Immortal
bit breaks the
crazy
seal and makes you more likely to spend.
Didn't even care about being
it's all part of a live service model designed to retain you for ongoing profit rather than see you have fun. Because in their minds, their games aren't failing due to aggressive monetization or anti-consumer practice or even the fact that they're just poorly designed. They just didn't quite do it right.
I mean, I do love
when you start your process from a review of let's create a service, a process for this player to get endlessly lost in, you lose sight of the real goal. Let's make a good game. Every AAA is now trying to capture lightning in a bottle because someone else did it. They see the profit and start with a framework to allow them to make the same without considering the fact you need a decent product prior to that implementation.
That's true.
They're trying to be SeaWorld. Fence in those whales and profit, baby. They'll then do anything they can to keep them in their tanks.
Have you ever seen Blackfish documentary?
Update.
I never want to go to SeaWorld ever in my life.
Down to fit into their new package. Features
Halo!
included are now part of loot boxes or cosmetic shops.
Oh, what a fall
change
off
the
Halo
color
had.
of your Spartan in Halo Infinite?
Is it better nowadays?
Well, that costs money now.
Has Halo gotten any better?
I can't remember which Halo game it was exactly. Maybe
Halo
it was
Infinite,
a few of them.
is.
I remember playing one of them and wanting to try get this super cool looking armor locked behind a challenge. Remember when you were in a lobby back in the day, you'd see someone with armor you wanted and you knew they'd beaten the game on Legendary or done some sick shit to get it. It was an actual status to have some hard to obtain armor, and it added so much more to the experience. You had more replayability in the game because you had items and challenges to grind for, to peacock in lobbies. Now you're grinding dailies to earn a pittance, in the hope that 8 months down the line, you can afford a half-decent skin. But it's not even that satisfying to get it, because 5 of the people in the lobby all spent money to buy it.
Oh,
none of them want to create fleshed out experiences anymore. They just look at a game and ask what they can trim down to fit into the battle pass. What kind of items can we hide behind paywalls? But we won't say it's pay to win, because you're using in-game silver, not actual money to buy something that increases drop rates. Like Blizzard saying Diablo Immortal wasn't going to be pay to win, and arguing that it still isn't despite the very clear patterns. And that's the second real reason, the consumer.
Did they just try to say that Diablo Immortal wasn't pay to win? Holy jeez. I think they say that for the uneducated gamer that doesn't actually either A play the game or look into the game, right? Or anything. Because I played a little bit of Diablo Immortal. And can you play the game without having to buy anything? Yes, you can. Now, I don't know if content is locked by anything. I didn't like grind in game, things like that. But to get max rolls, to get max gems, all of that, definitely have to pay for that, right? To get the re-rolls constantly. So definitely pay to win if you want to grind the leaderboards. But can you play without having to do all that? Yeah. If you just want to enjoy the storyline, feel free. But consumer, we have done this to ourselves. I am 100% on board with the fact that we as gamers are dumb. Okay? We are dumb because we give into this pay-to-play system pretty much. These game developers, game producers, and all that, all they're doing is just capitalizing on our idiocracy. If we kind of fought back, was like, I just want to play the game, I don't want to have to buy all this stuff, we would have less microtransactions like we've done in other games years before. But we don't. We see this cool skin. Take Diablo 4, for example. Wasn't it like when the game first came out, or one of the first couple seasons, that they had a really sick horse skin, right? Really sick mount skin. But it was like $60 because you got all of this currency along with it. But they put this really cool mount skin as like the face of that bundle, even though you were mainly getting all of this like currency for the game, right? So if we kind of wasn't so cosmetically, I am saying cosmetic, right? A lot of times when producers and developers make the games, they make it to where buying these packs make it easier for you to grind. They do it on purpose because they know we as gamers, and I'm going to say it right here, and I'm going to continue the video because I'm going to ruffle some feathers right here. We as gamers don't have any patience.
People will buy this. Whales will whale. When we buy shit, we get sold shit. The problem is, it's all starting to look the same, and the consistent withholding of features to bring them in later as part of the roadmap has really brought the live service model to its knees. Will it go away? Absolutely not. I think we'll continue to see it distill down until a new idea comes in. Maybe 5 days early access for $70, and keep the 3 days at $50. You know it'd work. The issue is they have become a formula, and with that breeds contempt for the industry. Most of the big devs we hate today were loved in the past, and many of these have been riding their reputations long past their use-by date. And with this formula, we are seeing top-tier developers bought up by larger companies, skinned for their IPs, given impossible tasks with impossible deadlines, and then we see them dismantled when it doesn't work out. BioWare used to be so well respected for their incredible open-world RPGs. Then EA pushed them into making Anthem, a live service attempt to compete with Destiny, and that dev has never been the same since. Side note, I fucking loved Anthem. Despite how incredibly broken it was, that game nailed the Iron Man power fantasy, and it's such a shame they didn't let them try to fix that game in the same way No Man's Sky revived itself. Finally, and this might be an interesting take, I want to hear your views
No
on
Man's Sky is very interesting
the
right now. It's
constant
been around
use
for
of
what,
FOMO
8
tactics
years?
and the way
And
games are
No
designed to
Man's
make you
Sky
grind and grind keeps me
made
from jumping
leaps
into
and
games I'd
bounds.
otherwise be interested in. Let me give you an example. I played the original Destiny on console and loved it. I picked up
shots are
Destiny 2 on
garbage.
PC and had a good time. Played for a couple of 100 hours in the months after release. Monetization at the time wasn't my favorite, but it was cosmetic and you could ignore it. I know how they play. I like the gameplay loop. I've been saying to friends for the past couple of months now that I've been really feeling that kind of game again. A tight PvE shooter. Destiny's Final Shape expansion releases, and I have no interest at all in it. Because I remember playing Destiny 2. I remember there being a games as a service vibe. I remember grinding for hours. I had a decent time in that. But I don't want to return to a live service game I've not played for almost 5 years. Because there's just too much there now. I checked the Steam page and the DLCs are over $400 combined. And yeah, part of that is an emote bundle, a silver bundle I'd never take. But instantly I'm asking myself, well, do I need all of this past content? Do I need any of the guns from past seasons or expansions to be competitive? Is it even still available? Will I need to complete a bunch of old content to then be able to do the new content? Or will I instantly be leveled to match everyone else? But then, if I am instantly leveled, what is the point in playing? Because if anyone can jump in and play now and be competitive, what is the point of the last 5 years of grind for those who've been doing it?
And a lot of games too. I love that because if you could go in and buy levels and instantly be where everyone else who grinded the game, that totally takes away from the immersion and takes away from the love of the game. Because like he was saying, if you spent, for example, if I spent my 2 years, 3 years grinding New World, I probably I bought the expansion, but 2, I did buy 1 currency pack to get a skin set. Other than that, only money I spent on the game was the expansion and buying the game. Grinded it for 2-3 years, right? Now they have it to where you can buy boosters and power-ups and things like that and get them in packs. Did that contribute? I don't know. It's the downfall of the game. A lot of games have that, right? But a lot of games have that because, and I go back to my previous statement, that game developers know that we as gamers don't have patience. Now, a lot of us don't have patience because families, full-time jobs. I get that. So maybe you don't have hours upon hours every week to grind a game. Cool. So having that as an option for like the dad gamers like myself, understand that. But it's ruining games because now every game is turning into a live service game, and that takes away from the joy of it because now you're like, oh, well, what do I have to buy now to continue the game?
And what's the point of me grinding if I do play? I should point out, I don't give a flying fuck about Destiny's story. Not for lack of trying, I was interested in Destiny 1, but when a company must release an expansion every so often to keep their live service, well, live, the storytelling, the writing, is generally okay at best because it's been created on... If you love Destiny, if it's your game, your baby, that's great. I don't want you to stop having fun. That's not my goal, that's no one's goal. And I think the game is decent.
That's still
the point
on?
I'm making here is that the longer these games go, the harder they are to then jump into. I tried to Google for this video if I needed to play the previous content, and the first answer is you can jump in at Final Shape. Then I start reading a Reddit thread, and there's mention of exotics I wouldn't have, and that it doesn't matter. Except when it does, and I'm instantly just less interested. I also remember feeling a lot of FOMO playing Destiny 2, and that was 5 years ago. I remember feeling like if I didn't jump in and do all my daily or weekly grinds, that I was falling behind, and that sours the idea of going back to me. Do you feel the same? I started playing Classic WoW with a friend when that released, and it made me want to play retail. But again, there is so much content there that I just feel I'm jumping in too late. And I think that's fine for World of Warcraft, a game that has been out for 2 decades. But when every game becomes a live service, I do feel like if I don't buy and play it at launch, then I just never will. Because I know there'll be locked content.
Amen to that. I don't know if you guys heard that, but what he was saying that in a live service game, if you don't buy it and play it at launch, you automatically feel behind. Because in a live service game, there's so much content constantly being added and produced in the game that you never feel like you're going to get caught up. Right? And that's where a lot of games are, that's what a lot of games are starting to do. Starting again, going back to what we talked about earlier, that FOMO of the player. Like, wait a second, this game's hyped up, and I'm going to wait a week or two to kind of see how it does, choose some reviews, maybe get a day 1 patch out, and then I'll play. 2 weeks go by, live service game, new things are being added. You're like, wait a second, I've lost 2 weeks of gaming. I'm 2 weeks behind other people. How am I going to get caught? I don't have the time to get caught up. Now you're kind of less inclined to play the game because you know that you're not going to have the time to catch up because everyone else is so far ahead of you that they're playing the new content while you're still trying to get through the older content, right? Live service games, again, kind of starting to ruin the gaming experience.
I can't access because I didn't play at a specific time in its life cycle. Part of that is the completionist in me. I like to experience an entire game, or at least have the option to. I used to buy games a year or so after release just to try them out if I'd missed their initial release window. But I'm doing that less and less, often because of the sheer amount of time-limited content that is no longer available, or because it's just so massive. I think live service has a place in games like Fortnite, in which the gameplay loop is enclosed, right?
Okay,
you jump in, play a match.
This is different. Shooters being a live service makes sense, right? Fortnite, Apex, Counter-Strike, things like that. Those games absolutely can be a live service and get away with it because they're shooters, right? You're doing things that you could do otherwise. Like if you play from 100 hours or 2 hours, it's not like you're getting power-ups that are making you, sure you get the experience, but you're not leveling higher, getting stronger because of it. So I don't feel shooters really fall into this live service category, right? Because it's a completely different style of genre.
And that's about it. I could easily play and jump into Fortnite if I had the interest because it doesn't matter that I didn't play Season 3. There isn't that carryover effect of having missed years of story, grind, items, needing to catch up to other players who haven't taken a break. And I use Destiny as an example of that mindset because if they released Destiny 3, I'd be buying it. But maybe that's just me. League of Legends came before the whole live service model appeared as well, as a free-to-play game with microtransactions. I played League for years non-stop with friends. I believe games as a service has a place, but it's best kept in those games.
Fortnite got ruined with this Mad
And while I
Max
point out
season.
games like WoW,
Awful.
I think it still works for
Awful.
MMOs. This is the quintessential experience for that genre. But the MMOification of other games, to me, doesn't fit in the same way. But maybe I'm just nuts. In many of the comments in my last video, it was highlighted just how much of an impact the indie scene is now having in gaming. Game development is so much more accessible to people that we're starting to see so much creative expression in the indie space that it's now my dominant interest. This year has surprised me with so many incredible releases I had no clue were coming, and it's the only breath of fresh air for me in this industry. I can't wait to see what else is coming from those up-and-coming devs.
Baldur's Gate.
I just hope that like Larian Studios and Baldur's Gate 3, when they have success, they don't cave into larger companies who try to bring them under their wing to make yet another live service.
We need more Larian Studios in the
AAA
world.
Space just isn't releasing anything of any substance anymore. And everything is just following that same damn formula to try and hit profit margins.
Yep.
Thanks for checking out this video, guys. I really appreciate it. As always, throw a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, come hang out in my streams, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube and Twitch. And as always, I will catch you down in the comments. Cheers.
Cheers. That was a good video. I'll post it in chat here. You guys can check it out. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, all the other good things. The thing that really upsets me, again, I've talked about this many a times, is devs that are doing live service games, okay, are taken away from the experience of the player, okay? Because they're always worried about the money, always cashing in on the FOMO of the player, and not actually producing a game that makes it relevant to what's happening. Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, those are examples of how games should be and how studios should make their games. If you spend the extra time making a good, fairly complete game like this, the players will flock to you. You will make your money back, and then you will rake it in with the DLC if you take your time and make that complete game instead of saying, well, you know what? I'm going to make 72.8% of a game, but every 6 to 8 weeks, I'm going to give you more content that I should have gave you before. You're welcome. That's live service. And that's what's ruining games. Let me know what you guys think. Am I way off base here? Do you guys agree, disagree? Tell me what you think. Let's have a conversation. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you.